Okay, boys and girls, today we are going to start working on multiplying a 2-digit by a 1-digit number. And there's a variety of strategies that we can use, and I'm going to break those down for you and teach them to you in this lesson. Okay, so first we have what we call our box or array method. Okay, and this really comes in handy. A lot of students like to use this method. It's very visual. So as an example, if your problem is 25 times 6, okay, for using the box or actually we call it the open array method, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to break our numbers apart. And what we're actually using is the distributive property, which I will get into later. Okay, we're going to take our 25 and we're going to break that apart into 20 plus 5. Okay, we're going to write that going across the top, although it doesn't matter whether you go across or down the bottom. Okay, this number 6 we're going to put over here along this side. Okay, now, see how we have this plus sign here? That means you need to draw a line going down the box like this. So now there's no plus signs over here, so we're not going to draw a line here. So we have two boxes. Now we're going to multiply just like we would do with an array. 20 times 6, and use the 0 method. 6 times 2 is 12, and then add your 0 on. And then in the second box, we're going to do 5 times 6, which is 30. Now we're going to add these two numbers together, and we're going to get 150. Okay, so we're just breaking the number apart. That's one way. That's using the open array or the box method. Okay, now I'm going to show you the distributive property and how we can use multiplication using the distributive property. Distributive property is basically the same thing as what you're seeing up here in the box. Distributive property is when we break our numbers apart. We kind of spread things out a little bit. So if you have 25 times 6, what your distributive property says is that you can break this 25 apart, and we can do 5 times 6, and then we can add that on to this 2 actually means a what? It means a 20. 20 times 6. Okay, so we're just breaking our 25 apart, and we're doing 5 times 6, and then we're doing 20 times 6. You add them together, so we have 5 times 6, that's 30. 20 times 6, that's using the 0 trick, it's 12 plus the 0. Add that together and you get 150. If you notice, these numbers here are the same as what's in the box when we do the box method. Because when you think about it, 20 plus 5, we did 20 times 6, we did 5 times 6. It's the same thing as what you're doing down here with the distributive property. Okay, in addition, we have something called the partial product. And again, the partial product is really the same as doing the box method or using the distributive property, but you don't write the box down. Okay, so in some respects it's the same, but to me it's a little bit more difficult because it's not as visual. Okay, so you're just going to multiply 5 times 6, which is 30. Write your 30 down, and then you're going to multiply your 20 times 6, which is 120. Draw your line, you add them together, okay, and you're going to get your 150. Again, same thing, same numbers. Really, it's the same idea. It's using the distributive property. Okay, I'm going to erase this again. And now I'm going to show you the traditional method, which is the way that many of you, if you've already learned this at home maybe, this is the way that you've probably learned it. It's probably the way your parents solve their problems. We call it the U.S. algorithm, because this is generally used in the United States. Okay, so if we have 25 times 6, for the U.S. algorithm, what we do is we cover up this 2 and we just multiply the 5 times the 6. 5 times 6 is 30. So we put down the 0 and then we're going to carry the 3 up here. Okay, now we already did 6 times 5. We're going to take the 6 and multiply it by the 2, which is 12. And we're going to add on that 3, which is 15. Okay, and we get the same answer. Okay, just to do another sample problem, say we're doing 36 times 3. Okay, we're going to start out with this 3, and we're going to multiply it by this 6. 3 times 6 is 18. Put down your 8, carry your 1. And then we're going to multiply 3 times 3, which is 9, plus your 1, which is 10. Okay, one more example for this one. 42 times 8. 8 times 2 comes first, 16. Down your 6, carry your 1. And then 8 times 4, which is 32, plus 1, which is 33. Okay, so we just learned a few different methods. We learned the open array, we learned the US algorithm, we learned partial product, and we learned the distributive property. Okay, you need to be familiar with the different methods, but when you're solving a problem, unless it tells you specifically that you need to use the distributive property, you can basically use whatever method it is that works best for you.